Have you ever heard of a time when a nation lost its way and a brave woman stepped up to lead them back to God and victory? Today we are diving into an incredible story of Deborah, a prophetess and judge of ancient Israel, and how her journey connects to another legendary leader, Joshua. Our story begins in the difficult time after the great leader, Joshua. Joshua chosen by God after Moses led the Israelites into the promised land. He bravely conquered many cities and divided the land among the 12 tribes. These tribes were Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, Asher, Issachar, Zebulun, Benjamin, and Joseph. You don't need to remember all of them, just keep an eye on Naphtali and Zebulun because they play a very special role in our story. His strong faith was clear in big moments like miraculous fall of Jericho in Joshua 6 and the important promise-making ceremony at Shechem. But after he died at just the age of 110 years old, the nation lost its strong leader. Sadly, they fell into a repeating pattern. They would disobey God, be ruled harshly by foreign nations, and then God would send someone to rescue them. Without a main leader like Joshua, the Israelites often turned away from God. They started worshipping false gods from Canaanites like Baal and Asherah. Because of their bad choices, God allowed foreign rulers to control them. At this time, the Israelites in the northern areas suffered under the cruel king whose name was Jabin of Hazor. His very strong army commander, Sisera, had 900 iron chariots. Iron chariots were just like the tanks that we have today, and they had 900 iron chariots. For 20 long years, the Israelites suffered greatly under this harsh ruling, and they cried out to God for help. In this dark time, when all hope seemed lost, God chose Deborah to lead Israel. She was a prophetess, meaning she heard messages directly from God, and a judge, meaning she settled people's argument and guided the nation. Deborah was a woman of deep wisdom, bravery, and strong faith, specially picked to be a spiritual and political leader. She sat under the palm of Deborah, where she made decisions and guided the people. Her name, Deborah, means bee in Hebrew, perhaps hinting at her busy, wise nature and the sweet, helpful guidance she offered to Israel. Unlike Joshua, who was merely a military leader fighting battle himself, Deborah received God's instruction and shared them with steady faith, acting just like a God's speaker. Like Joshua before her, she was directly chosen by God and trusted completely in his guidance. One day, under her palm tree, Deborah received a direct message from God. She called Barak from Naphtali and told him God's clear order, and that order was to gather 10,000 men from Naphtali and Zebulun and led them to Mount Tabor. God promised to bring Sisera to the Pishon River and give him into their hand. This direct order from God was like a special meeting Joshua had before big battles, like in Joshua 5, where he met the commander of Lord's army. In both cases, simply doing what God said was the key to winning. Barak, however, paused. He might have been worried by the Sisera's advanced iron chariots. He told Deborah, "If you go with me, I'll go. But if you don't go with me, I won't go." Deborah agreed to go with him, but she also predicted that, "Yes, I will certainly go with you, but because of your choice, the honor of this victory will not be yours. For the Lord will give Sisera into the hands of a woman." This brave answer showed Deborah's deep courage and trust in God. Her words were like Joshua's argument to be strong and brave, showing how both leaders inspired their people by God's promise of help. When the armies were ready, Israelites smartly placed on Mount Tabor, and Sisera's strong troops with their chariots by the Kishon River. Deborah, with special understanding from God, gave the command to move forward. She announced, "Go. This is the day the Lord has given Sisera into your hand. Hasn't the Lord gone ahead of you?" Her deep trust in God, perfect timing, and direct help mirrored Joshua's own trust in God action during important battles like Jericho and Ai. As Barak and his men went down from Mount Tabor, the Lord amazingly defeated Sisera's forces. The ancient song of Deborah later described God's help in beautiful poetic words. From the heavens the stars fought. From their courses they fought against Sisera. The river Kishon swept them away. The age-old river, the river Kishon. This means God sent a huge storm, causing the Kishon River to flood. This made Sisera's iron chariots get stuck into the mud, making them useless. This direct help from God was just like how God used natural things like hailstorm and make the sun stand still in Joshua's battle. It clearly showed that God was the real warrior behind the Israel's win. While Barak chased Sisera's running army, Sisera himself ran away on foot. He found safety in the tent of Jael. Jael was the wife of Heber of Kenite. The Kenites were a traveling people who had good relations with both Israelites and Canaanites. So Sisera thought he would be safe. Jael welcomed him, showing kindness by giving him milk to drink and covering him with a blanket. But as the Sisera slept, tired from the battle, Jael took a tent peg and a hammer, tools common for women who set up tents, and bravely drove the peg through his head into the ground, killing him instantly. This act made Deborah's prediction come true that a woman would get the honor of this victory. When Barak arrived, Jael showed him Sisera's dead body, proving Deborah's prediction true. Jael's brave act is greatly celebrated in the Song of Deborah, where she is called most blessed of women. Her brave and surprising action, much like Rahab's in Joshua's time, clearly showed that God often uses unexpected people, even those not in usual position of power, to do His will. After the big battles, Deborah and Barak created a deep song of praise, known as the Song of Deborah, found in Judges 5. This very old song, one of the oldest poems in the Bible, celebrates God's rescue and honor the roles of Deborah, Barak, Jael, and the tribes that fought. It clearly describes the battle praises, the loyal tribes who helped, and the criticize those who didn't join the fight. The song ends with a strong prayer, so may all your enemies perish. Lord, may all who love you be like the sun when it rises in strength, which sounds like the language of promises and faithfulness Joshua used before he died. The victory over Jubin and Sisera brought a time of peace to the land of 40 years. This was an important time of rest, similar to the peace Israel had after Joshua's first victory. However, unlike Joshua's time, which saw a more united Israel, Deborah's time had problems with tribes being divided. Some tribes like Reuben, Gilead, and Dan and Asher clearly refused to join the battle. So Deborah's leadership was not just a military win, but also a very important call for unity, much like Joshua's own effort to keep the tribes working together for God's plan. Both Deborah and Joshua were directly chosen by God to lead Israel. Joshua was given his mission through Moses, and Deborah, on the other hand, was called a prophetess and judge, receiving direct message from God to speak for him. Each played a very important and different part in keeping Israel identity strong and helping them obey God during dangerous times and when their faith was weak. In both stories, God stepped in amazing ways using nature to win the battle. For Joshua, God sent hailstone and even made the sun stand still. For Deborah, God sent a huge storm that flooded the Kishon River. These amazing events clearly showed that the wins didn't come from the human military power, but from God's power. This confirms the old Bible ideas that the battle is the Lord's. Joshua, with his strong leadership and the shared goal of conquering the land, mostly kept the tribes united. Deborah, however, had to lead during a time when tribes were becoming more divided and unwilling to work together. Still, her efforts to gather Israel and her strong call for them to join mirrored Joshua's own drive to keep the nation focused on God's will and united for his plan. Both leaders left a legacy of a temporary time of peace of Israel. Joshua's complete victories brought rest to land, and Deborah's success brought peace for 40 years. But these peaceful times were short, as Israel kept falling back into sin and rebellion showed the ongoing spiritual struggle. Both Joshua and Barak are highly respected in the New Testament Hall of Faith. In Hebrew, their being included there clearly shows their shared legacy of strong faith, the bravery, and complete trust in God. These qualities make the stories truly special in the Bible. The stories continue to inspire us today.